Hello folks! Seems like we are much in the middle of our New England excursion, and we are back in New Hampshire, the Granite State, for a little more adventuring. I've brought you all here to start our day to the Pierce Manse. Now what is the Pierce Manse? Who is Pierce? Franklin Pierce was the 14th President of the United States. He served from 1853 to 1857. He was born and raised and lived for a good part of his life in the state of New Hampshire. And this was the house in which he lived for about 5-6 years of his life, shortly before ascending to the presidency. Franklin Pierce, I wouldn't say was the best president of the United States, certainly not in the top half. During his short presidency of 4 years, he sort of divided the nation even more with the Kansas-Nebraska Act and the Fugitive Slave Act. He made the tensions between the North and the South even more great, as if they weren't already great. Although he was from New Hampshire, a free state, he felt that the abolitionist movement was a really big threat to the unity of the country. Here in 2021, we have that historical hindsight to know that back in the day, being anti-abolitionist was just a moral disgrace. However, back in the day, in the 1850s, leading up to the Civil War, there was a lot of debate over whether slavery should exist in America. Before we try to enter the Pierce Manse, just wanted to welcome you all to the third most populous city and the state capital of Concord, New Hampshire. We have lots to do today, so let's get it going. Shame. They only allow you into the house if you're doing a full-on tour, and I don't think I have time for that right now. But it was very cool to, visit one of the lesser-known presidents' homes. Everybody knows about Lincoln and Washington and Jefferson and all of the recent presidents, but to go to just some obscure president from the 1850s home? Oh yeah, sign me up. I'll also say before we head to another part of Concord, New Hampshire, that although I don't support Franklin Pierce's historical beliefs about politics, it's good to learn from history rather than just erase it. This house was almost demolished, but it was able to be saved through the efforts of historians and people working on behalf of preserving history. Naturally, we are on the outskirts of Concord. Let's go and actually visit the capital city of the Granite State for itself. I did not expect everybody to be so outdoors, lively, and everything. It's actually a good sight. You see everybody out there in the cars, on the bikes, on foot. This is the New Hampshire State Capitol building. I wish I could show more, but there's like a little birthday party to the side, and I don't want to really feature that too much for people's privacy and all that, but let's see if we can get better views of this Capitol building. Yeah, it is kind of tough when there's like a little children's birthday party going on, but look at this! Looks like there's more downtown to Concord. My goodness, there's a whole fair going on, or some sort of festival. Looks like we got here on the right day. Well, it looks like there's the Concord clock. So I'm pretty sure we're in the historic downtown district, and this is right where the festival's going on. As you can see, there's all these food stands or different shops and marketplaces or different community organizations. Lots of things going on right now. Oh, the Market Days Festival? Is that where we're at? The downtown of Concord is surprisingly a really, really nice downtown. You have all these brick buildings, brick adorned streets. From the narrow corridors, you can really tell this is a very, very old city, just like many cities in New England. Concord is no different in that sometimes it's fun to just get lost in the narrow streets. So I'm taking a break from the festival for a bit, because you all know I can't resist candy. It's always nice to see the factory in the back of the store. That's how you know it's just homemade, and that's probably good that it's authentic and not just shipped from around the world. One thing about my New England experience here on our New England excursion that's been consistent, it's been that people in New England love their ice cream. Since I've entered New England, I've not been in one town or city or area without an ice cream shop. So I decided to indulge myself this once and get an ice cream cone. Flavor today is New Hampshire maple pecan. Had the word New Hampshire in it, had to try it. This thing didn't last all of just a few minutes. It's so hot today, it just melted completely, so I had to eat it all. One thing's for sure here in Concord, people know how to perform some good music. Concord, New Hampshire isn't a huge city, but it is a comparatively large city when you're talking about the towns and cities in New Hampshire and New England. With just about 40,000 people or so, it is the third largest city in New Hampshire. And a small city like here in Concord, I think, is the perfect city to host some sort of festival. With a really, really, really large city like New York or Chicago or even like Philadelphia, oh yeah, it's gonna be parking frenzy. You won't be able to find a parking spot and too many people out and about, but with a city that's just large enough to host this type of deal, oh, it's perfect. I didn't feel like I had to stand in long lines or anything or wade through a whole horde of people coming my way. Didn't feel like that. So with Concord, would be optimal to have a festival like the Market Days Festival here. Now, compared to earlier in the New England excursion during our first venture into New Hampshire, this is a different region of New Hampshire. Back then we were in the Monadnock region of southwest New Hampshire, but we're a region over. This is the Merrimack Valley, where you have all these cities like Manchester, Nashua, and right here in Concord, in sort of the south central part of New Hampshire. Why is it called the Merrimack Valley? Good question. Well, it's a valley, and in that valley is a river called the Merrimack River. Now, if you have lived in Massachusetts or New Hampshire, you may very well know what the Merrimack River is. Now, once again, as I said before, I wish I could show you the Merrimack River in person, but there's no really good access point in Concord right here. You might have to go to cities that are more south or have better access points to the Merrimack River. It is right over all that industrial decay. Sadly, it's obstructed by Interstate 93, if you can see the cars going in the background. So it starts in central New Hampshire and flows down past the New Hampshire-Massachusetts border into northern Massachusetts, and then it goes on a little curve. And if you notice the eastern part of that New Hampshire-Massachusetts border, you'll notice that the border sort of goes a little bit over and traces, I wouldn't say parallel because they're not straight lines, but it sort of goes right above, tracing the pattern that would be of the Merrimack River. And then finally it flows into the Atlantic Ocean like most rivers here in New England. All right, now that we have seen Concord, New Hampshire's downtown in its full glory on this very remarkable day here at the Market Days Festival. Is it a one-day festival? Is it a multi-day festival? Not sure. But now that we've seen the city in its whole, or as much as we can do in a nice hour-long walk, time to visit one last place in Concord. New Hampshire is a state known for its picturesque beauty in nature. From the mountains to forests all across the state, this nature provides the optimal growing conditions for many different temperate growing fruit, such as apples, plums, peaches. If it has a pit in the middle of the fruit, it probably might be grown in New Hampshire. Among that, many berries like blueberries. New England is famous for having its amazing quality blueberries, so let me just put that out there. So on our final stop in Concord today, I felt it was obligatory to head to a nice little orchard known as Carter Hill Orchards and see what I can find, from the rows of fruit trees to what's back inside, and I'll show you that in a minute. Around this part of America, New England, the Mid-Atlantic, orchards across these regions will allow customers to pick their own fruit right off the tree, and they'll pay by the weight of how much they collected. It's a nice fun thing, and I'm not sure if other parts of America have those types of things too. Please, if you are from different parts of America or around the world, do you have these orchards where you can come on by, collect all the fruit you want and pay by the weight? Now, although I would be more than happy to collect my own fair share of apples, peaches, plums, whatever this orchard has, I'm not sure a trailer can sustain and preserve them. They'll probably just go past overripe stage. They'll go to waste, so I'd rather keep them on the trees, let other people who are going to at least consume all of them at once have their share of the fruit here. So for example, well, I don't know about this, but this looks like a peach with its fuzz on it, and it looks like it's not yet ripe. Should grow a little larger. I should really know these. All the ripening times, when's the harvesting season. Maybe it's in a few weeks, maybe it's in a month or so. Oh, now these look a little bit more ripe. You see the red color, and it's a little larger. Those might be just ripe enough, but I'm no farmer. In addition to the ripe, juicy fruits grown here at Carter Hill Orchard, New Hampshire, in general, is famous for their maple syrup, just like the states of Vermont and Maine. We're very close to Canada, and since geographically we are close to the maple leaf country, there's going to be that similar flora. You're going to still have a lot of these maple trees in the area. And so all over the state of New Hampshire, you can find maple farms to tap into the maple tree, extract the sap, and convert it into a tasty maple syrup. It's a pretty expensive process, and so in general, maple syrup is very, very expensive if you're talking about the organic kind. You know, the Aunt Jemima maple syrup, that's going to be easy to get at your local Walmart for just a few dollars, but if you want organic maple syrup, it might cost you $10, $20 for a container like this. So instead of buying a whole jug of maple syrup, I bought this cute little New Hampshire maple candy, and it has the whole state of New Hampshire imprinted on it. And the best part about this candy, it's made of 100% maple syrup. Another thing that's cool about this little thing is if you turn it upside down, it looks like the state of Vermont. But anyway, should be a tasty treat for the end of this video. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed this excursion on our New England excursion to Concord, New Hampshire, the capital of the Granite State. We have one more location in New Hampshire before we go back into our last New England state. So yeah, hope you enjoyed this video. Sitting in this nice little gazebo in the orchard, right on the hills of Concord, New Hampshire. More travels to come. I will see you at the next location.